Is it on?
No.
Hold on a second now. Let me get one thing.
Now it sounds like it's on. It on.
Ah, here we go. This is what I was on. Okay, I might do this now. All right. One thing more. One thing more. Me and Mike be working the mine. Holy shit, we have a great time. Never mind. What the hell are those things? For crap's sake. You know, I'm just about sick and tired of the goddamn crap I have to put up around here. It isn't home. Here they are.
Deal them, Dano. Deal them. Deal me in.
All right. You don't need that. You don't need that. Got this. This goes here. These go here.
Lost and found. This was left here like 3 weeks ago, and I forgot that I just picked it up. It was
Oh, thieving again, huh? Well, we caught you at it this time.
Yeah, we got.
Don't let it happen again.
I don't know what. I should just hold it up and say, does anybody know? And if they don't know, then I'll put it here and don't take it.
There we go. You can take it as a surprise and move it again.
Yeah. Then the person will come back and will point him in your direction. It was all his fault, Your Honor. I had no idea.
I really did.
I have no idea. I have no freaking idea. All right, so
We're getting ready for the main event here.
okay, it looks like. Hold on. Oh yes, we're good. You may go. Ladies and gentlemen,
Hear ye,
hear ye.
hear ye. Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Guy Smiling. Dan Brady as the current host of this, the longest running, sitting, standing still, open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up foot good and pine poetry since 1972. Please support this reading by enjoying the Drood and Fink served here. Let's have a big band, maybe Coltrane, maybe Ellington, maybe bass. Let's have a big band for Teddy and Fiona. And Rodan is in the audience. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gentlemen, is welcome. But
Welcome.
we do ask you to respect the mic, keep conversations to a whisper, put phones on, or
Sorry about that.
and do not distract the speakers,
Or distress them.
or the
even if they don't have a
amplifiers,
dress.
or the bass guitar, or pass in front of them, or pass gas in front of
That
them.
would be
Also,
rude.
keep the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but
But-
sometimes an effing eternity. But that can change.
That can change.
We'll get it in a microcosm.
Remember,
We've got two shows.
Sign.
We've got two shows. The 7-ish and the 8:40-ish. What is this, a train station?
Yeah.
For those reasons, I ask for generosity. Give me dollars. I don't want change. By going short
I want change.
on your time and on your feet, it helps with our tradition of getting everyone on the mic. 40 angels on the head of a pin one time. Okay, if you want to be in the loop, go to Chicago.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I did that one the last 2
We remember that.
We've an opt-in mail list, our Facebook
Opt-in,
page, our
opt-in.
YouTube channel, and we stream live. For those of you who are salmon fishers, which is handy in 5. Count them 5 on your hand. Ways. You can view in from home. Family or friends can see you live or later on.
And you can
If
be
wanna hear
committed.
Danny so-and-so, Billy so-and-so's poem again?
Again?
Why, you can. Want to do a self-critique? Hell no, we don't want to do a self-critique.
Hell no.
If you really want to, take the exercise down, a couple doors down. You can do it there. And it is a way to put out the word, yours, mine, ours, days,
Sorry
eons.
about this.
Remember the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens, that would be us, can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead said this.
Said that.
The evening's theme is...
The evening's theme is the future, thanks to Rob.
The
Not
future,
the thanks to Rob part, just the future.
Or just thanks to Rob, or the future, whatever you choose.
Or Rob's future, thank you.
Rob's future, thank you.
Or thank you,
Rob's
future
welcome,
Rob.
thank you. Also, next week's feature is...
Next week's feature by Gumbo is Kevin Del Principe.
Ooh. Okay.
Someone knows him, because I didn't know him. I only saw him online a couple of times. He said, "Can I be a feature?" I said, "Sure." So you
Now.
know. Huh?
Now. Now. Or maybe later on. As to the first show, the keynote will
The
be...
keynote is Martin Joseph, for God's sakes.
The locksmith himself, the keynote. While our feature is...
Q.R. Hand, who is right here, on
Q.R.
live, in the
Hand.
house,
Yeah,
waiting to wow you.
Wheel Jasmine McCoy, who will give us the Queen's wave.
I'll do it for him, because I'm trying to help out.
As to the second show, the last word will be
The
the
cursive.
Sanderell.
Sanderell, cursive writer.
And
or-
I'll be cursing his cursives
and
behind him.
you'll be
the
backing
mini
him.
feature.
Is Buford Button, who is also in the house somewhere. I saw him come in. Right there before my very eyes.
We
Why didn't I
have
see that?
fabulous door prizes.
I'm going to go through those very, very quickly. First, before I do that, someone left
look
this
at this.
here a couple weeks back, so if it is yours and you know it, or if it's not yours and you know whose it is,
Joseph A. Bank.
please
skull.
advise. Otherwise, I'm just going to make it one of these things because, otherwise I have to take things home like I don't like doing because I have too much stuff home anyway. Now, just to go over these very quickly, Heartland, Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Choice, it's an anthology. Well, there's Galway Canal in here, so that's nice. Perspective Review, spring 1966. So this goes back in time. Selected poems in 5 sets by Laura Riding. And if you like calendars with great pictures, this would be a great chance for you. Let me just show you a couple of them. That's a Native American theme or First Nations theme. Pictures on the back, pictures here. And this is 2007, so it was after the change.
Not quite
current. If you know how to do the math, you can find out which year or years this will work for, because there's a pattern, And then poetry, volume 16, number 3, autumn 1975, again before the Great Change. So there's also being the co-pilot, which Sharon Scott Kish's The Evening, The Last Word, who begins and closes out the second show, choosing the theme or prompt, which Rob did, bringing us to the future. The mini feature, which of course this time is Buford. He comes in the second half and gets a nice 8-minute slot. And the keynote, which this evening is
Sanderell.
Martin Joseph, who we'll be hearing from in just a short moment.
What about that little bust that looks like V.I. Lenny?
Oh, hold on a second. I didn't see this. Arturo Sandoval Chia Head. So, I didn't see this, so it is here. I don't think, okay. So there
Do
you
you know
go.
who Arturo
If
Sandoval
you
is?
have chia seeds, it's no problem. If you don't have
know who
chia seeds,
Arturo
you'll
is,
have to do
Dan?
something else.
Do you know who Arturo is?
Yes, I know who.
The great trumpet player.
Yes, yes.
Wow, you're a hipster.
Well, I remembered the name. I'll go that far.
Okay.
Are we done? Are we
done.
All right.
I'm toast.
Give him a
Wait,
round of
wait,
applause.
wait.
Wait.
Be
Hold
advised,
on.
although we record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission. We'll assume you've done so. Should we notice recordings being made? Now I'm done.
There you go. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Just a spoiler alert. If you remember over the months, I used to do something called reading the Proposition 1. Well, that passed so many times, and I figured I will probably read that one more time. But I have Propositions 2, 3, and 4 not with me today, but theoretically written, and we'll take care. There's an idea behind all those, and people going, "What's he talking about?" I'll tell you later if you're curious. It's a way of making change happen, or could. Who knows? Why give up? That's the only mistake. My mom used to say that. The only mistake is giving up. Well, except for you. All right. So here we go. Mr. Martin Joseph, you are now ready. Give him a round of applause. Our keynote of the evening is going to be holding forth. And move this just a little forward so I can focus. Oh, that's good. There you go. Perfect. You are You are so beautiful to them. Sorry.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Good evening.
I've read other people's stuff before, usually based on admiring their stuff. And this one I'm just going to briefly explain the personal connection. This poet, my maternal grandmother was a Lenin. Her paternal grandfather and paternal grandparents were Lenins who came over fleeing the potato famine in 1848. They came over from Liverpool, which is where, if you were Irish, that's how you got to America, was to go to Liverpool. You may or may not remember the potato famine of 1848, but it was a pretty terrible thing. Ireland was part under the dominion of Britain at the time, and Britain had a policy called laissez-faire, which was so bad they didn't even say it in English, they said it in French. But roughly translated from the French, it means it would be better for the world if there were fewer Irishmen than if there were more Irishmen. And another literal translation of it is, let it be. Well, Lenihan is one of the most common names in Ireland. Lenin is one of the rarest names in Ireland. There were maybe 50 Lenins in Ireland at the time of the potato famine, and most of them went over to Liverpool. And some of them stayed, and some of them went to America. So I'm a descendant of the ones that went to America, and there's another guy who is a descendant of the ones who stayed. So this is one of his poems. It's called Imagine.
Hold on.
Imagine that. You got it, Dan? Almost, almost.
There we go. You're go.
It's a very simple poem, very, very simple lyrics. Imagine that there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion, too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. A little closer to the mic?
Yeah, because I don't know.
Okay. How about I put the mic closer to me?
Yeah.
Okay. You can all hear me? Yeah. All right. Well, that was so short, even though the introduction was long, that there's time for yet one more from the same poet, and that is the translation of the policy of laissez-faire into let it be. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. And in my hour of darkness, standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. 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 And whispering words of wisdom. Let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree that there will be an answer, let it be. For those that may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see that there will be an answer. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow. Let it be. I wake up to the sound of music, and Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be, let it be. Let it be, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be.
I'm Joseph. I'm John Lennon. Just a slight advisement, when you do read something by somebody else, I'll give this to you so you can give me the name of the author and the title of the poem or whatever, so that way
John Lennon.
I don't, yes,
Double fantasy.
yeah. So that way I don't always write Charge of the Light Brigade by Aleister Crowley and the All Night Images. All right, and now we have Robert. Give him a round, please. We're going to zoom in on him, Mr. Robert. We're zooming in on you. Anytime you're ready, and go.
I'm just going to read one poem.
All right.
So to this great need. How shall I scale away this thin layer of youth that toots some wild deer that bucks its prey? And shall I will this gorgeous day to dusk, or must I blow the wind to loss it does not think to dream? As all and as none, this serpent in my buns is caught a fish of scaly dish, that so society would know, oh social grief and all upon a pillow of despair. I wish to be not there, my nemesis, my sister, green as virgin soil. Oh, I would spoil your dreams.
Mr. Britt Peter, will you kindly come forward, please? Take that mic in hand and read us a riot act as you please.
I don't think I've got that tonight.
Darn it.
All right.
I was looking forward to a riot act.
Okay.
Or a riot, anyway.
The future. The future doesn't exist. Everybody knows that. That's why we talk about it so much. Being aware at the edge, the ledge, the cliff, an air of imminence, a small mason jar half filled with juice on my desk, a crystal ball kept in a drawer.
Short and sweet, I like it.
The quote in here is by Kenneth Rexroth, and it's a memory of a hike up Devil's Gulch several years ago. Devil's Gulch. Microscopic communities flourish within the maw of Moloch. Girls fashioning their own lives, motorcycles and waterfalls, earrings and Irish whiskey, crackers and white cheese. Away from the highway, the monster will one day fall from view. The Wadleys dreamed it. Santiana suggested as much. We will not see it. That corruption wafted away, the corporate beast subdued, the flowering canopy of peace growing. That's about the future.
No, it's Kenneth Rexroth, right? It's Kenneth Rexroth.
No, that was me mostly.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought you still had, but you had a quote by him in there,
Right.
right? Okay, so I just want to make sure I
I
got it.
got one more.
All right, no, that's good. I just want to correct myself.
The future. I don't know why, but the poem gets nervous when it drifts from the specific into the general or global. Words like love, beauty, and God. Worst of all, the carrot before the eyes of a hungry donkey, seeing the future. Bricks falling from a frail house, having to build another poem from the shambles of a false effort. And this aesthetic injunction is useless too, not fitting anyone but myself sometimes, as that stray butterfly wanders out from a stand of trees.
Peter. Stephanie. After Stephanie, we have Lauren, then Owen, then George, then Tommy. I didn't see Tommy come in. Then Vincent, then David, then the Free Radical, then Alistair Magoo. All right. Who is?
Who is that kid beyond the back fence? The kid who doesn't talk and rails against the monsters of his mind? Who is this kid? The one who reads at the back of the room and wears headphones to protect his head from bursting as the others yell and scream? Who's that guy? The one they never leave alone to suffer with his demons? Who is this guy? I'll tell you. His name is the future. We have a kid like that at school. Okay. We've got about 500 of them like that at school. Big rainy winter feeds the famished seeds in the dry California ground. Now it's spring and lush green growth carpets every vista. The bay water sparkles in the sunshine as if to thank the heavens. Birds, bugs, foxes, coyotes abound, now that there is food for them and cover for the stealthy approach. Or is it an ancient lonely hunter stalking his prey behind the chaparral? The bird bone flute, the bow, the arrow flies. Tonight, the tribe will eat. Thank you.
We'll talk about. Oh, and you're new, right?
Yes.
Okay, she is brand new, ladies and gentlemen. There's Lauren up there. That's Lauren. Wait a minute, she's in the house already.
Yes. It is my first time here. It is also my stand-up debut, if you will.
Well, you're standing up
Thank
before
you.
us now.
Thank you. Yeah, no, before today it was strictly crawling everywhere. An occasional slither. No, it is my first time up here. My name is Lauren. Talk about mostly babies, so I'm sorry. I think we all know that babies are ugly, and we choose to fool ourselves. Like they just are ugly, especially the really fresh ones. But some of them are really freaking ugly. It's not like I hold it against them though, because like they haven't done anything to me personally yet. So I'll interact with them, you know, play a game of peekaboo or two. But I can't like hold a conversation with them. I feel like all babies do is small talk. No, so I saw this baby the other day, but like I could only see the back of its head. You know, I was gonna do like a little baby walk by. You know how you do, and you like smile and see if the baby smiles back. So I'm walking by, but as I turned to face it, the face it had, like I don't know how to react to that when the baby is that ugly, because at that point the parents already are looking at you, looking at their baby, and they're expecting you to say, like, "Aw." So I played along and I looked at the baby and I looked at the parents. I said, "Oh, he's gonna have a great personality." Speaking of babies, did you guys hear about all the abortion bills in the South? Yeah, I think they're trying to get it to the Supreme Court and overturn like Roe versus Wade. But how they're going about doing this is like doing very strict abortion laws in separate states. For example, Alabama just passed a bill that essentially bans all abortion. So if the mom gets pregnant, I mean, she just has to have that baby. And I think it's like really horrible, you know? Like we don't need more Alabamians. one more thing that really confuses me about babies is when they're driving. Not like they themselves are driving, because somehow that makes sense to me, like baby driver. But when they're in the car, and people always have those stickers, you know, like baby on board. It's like, if anything, shouldn't they be in a car seat? I don't know. Thanks.
Wonderful debut! Great. Owen, George, and Tommy, Vincent, David, me, Bill, Martin, and our future, for goodness sakes. James. All right. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Now we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. At the beach, in a new modern L car, the waves murmur gently upon the sand. Experimental Clary Who at Starbucks. The windy sunny day at my doorstep, I say nothing to nobody. Gaily, this repeats itself daily. Clary Who from the Trieste. A funny slant of light sheds itself. Slight beams from the sun. I don't know which way to run. Memoirs from the 8th grade. Kathy Sullivan laughed at my jokes. I did the bop with her all night. A Clary Who is good form. A Clary Who is good form. I admit to being a bit uniform. I conform to its strictures. It can even paint a picture. A Clary Who unlocks the mind. A Clary Who unlocks the mind. It does not put me in a bind. I don't take this form for granted. Beams of sunlight are candid. Dressed greens. You look sharp in your uniform, son. My dad said that to me, and I thought it the second most wonderful thing a man with a voice ever said. Poema. Moments of metaphorical magic touch the air of an indifferent evening. Subtleties surround me, for moments of time being. The page stays the same, does not turn. The page turns like a key. I am surprised when surprises come out of nowhere. Night of the poem. Tonight is the night of the metaphors that are ghosts that have tried to be themselves. Sometimes the lines are too long to become a sonnet. Sometimes there is no imagination left on the face of the earth. When the lines, the metaphors are brilliant, they shine like rubies or emeralds on a woman's fingers, or they are shy flowers that think they are not good enough to blow in the warm desert wind. Flowers like poems are quiet during the day, then shout aloud to the laughing night. A Libra fiddles. A beast lying in Dover, the day prayer said still. The air is impetuous as it was the air lying to to meet his whereabouts, the whereabouts of the air, done the beast from 14 lines, a being Clover in Dover, weak rhymes, the opera of sadness, comedy is no kid, you can hem and haw your way to Missouri, muleteers guffaw in the wine vats. I am as mixed up as everyone else could have been if they had tried too hard. My Father stands in heaven. I wonder if laughter is contempt. Cancer is no kid to kid you.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. All right. Who's that going? George. This is George. Give him a round as he comes up here. He's stately, careful, caring, considerate, kind, thrifty, brave. I'll stop there.
And your neighbor.
And my neighbor. If I went out in front of my house and threw a rock really well, I could hit his house, I think.
Don't do that.
Yeah, so. I haven't done that yet, though.
George, don't worry, we won't hold it against you.
I lived in New York for a long time. Anybody from New York?
I'm from there.
Okay, you're gonna love this. It's gonna make you feel at home. It's my first day of work in New York City. It was June 12th, 1967. Ooh. Out the door, down the elevator, east on 96th Street to the subway, the IRT local at 96th and Lexington. Everything was hot. The air steamy, the streets soft and gooey. New York is a symphony of odors, and as I headed down the steps to the subway, I was slapped by what smelled like an oven that had fried the juice that slopped out of the pan. And it was crowded. At rush hour, everybody squeezed into their own tiny space on the platform, preparing to do whatever was needed to get on the next train. The veterans knew where to stand and would be in front of a door when the train stopped. I, of course, knew no such thing. I found a tiny opening, which, I discovered, was between two cars, as far away from the door as possible. The doors opened, the mobs flooded out, and the people in the station, who positioned themselves well, squeezed in, pushing and shoving, until there was no space for another body. From where I was, in the worst place possible, there was no way I was getting on. Waiting for the next train, I lit a cigarette. Heads turned, eyes glared, no one spoke. By the time it traveled from my fingers to my brain that smoking on the subway platform was illegal, I got nailed by a New York City transit cop. He said, "No smoking on the platform." I asked, "Where are the signs?" He didn't reply and gave me a ticket, which at the time was $5.
Oh.
I managed to get on the second train with my back squashed against the door. I hoped there wouldn't be an emergency where they would spring open and I'd be deposited in the tunnel. I pictured rats, and confirmation came a few days later when I saw two of them running around under the platform. The train pulled away from the 96th Street station and stopped before my car got to the end of the platform. As crowded as it was, nobody made eye contact. I didn't think that was possible. The only ventilation came from a clanking overhead fan blowing down hot, smelly air. And as hard as this was to believe, lots of folks were reading. The favorite was the New York Times, folded again and again, so just those few words in that one column were visible. In this way, the reader could turn the paper, which was now about 1/8 of its normal width, and read without jamming the pages into his neighbor's face. It took me a while to learn how to do this. The first time I tried, the middle section of the paper dropped to the floor, where it was crumpled by the person squeezed next to me. I was afraid if I leaned down to get it, the crowd would take over my space, and I wouldn't be able to get back up. The next stop was 86th Street, and I needed to make a decision. As I was headed to Grand Central Station at 42nd Street, I could transfer to the express train, or I could stay on the local and hope the crowds thinned out. Turns out, I had no choice. As soon as the train stopped and the doors opened, I was swept onto the platform. Trying to get back on was like trying to break through waves during a storm. The decision had been made for me. I was taking the express. I quickly became a subway veteran. I grabbed my space on the platform, squeezed into the car, read the paper, made no eye contact, and was relieved when there was no hot, miserable delay. One rainy day, I pushed a woman who was trying to cut me out and squeezed her way into an open door. She tumbled onto the side of the train and hit me on the back of the head with her umbrella. Thank you. One more little tiny thing. It's called writing about my mother. Writing about my mother is like learning to ice skate. I slip and slide and hold on for dear life, then fall down. Get back up, start over.
George, thank you. Tommy Tire Biter. Oh, sorry. Wrong. Missing metaphors there. Sorry. This is Tommy Avocado the Mecca. Give him a nice round of applause. He's a joyful man, really. I don't know why I said that. He doesn't either. I'm stopping.
Yeah.
So Sunday was Mother's Day, and my mother was on my mind. It's been almost 30 years since she died. So I'm going to read this poem I wrote for her years ago. Two Italian words in it. One is guaglione, which is ragazzi in Southern Italian dialect. It means a young guy. And agita, which is the kind of aggravation and stress that hits you in the pit of your stomach and feels like you have a boulder in your stomach. Mama, the neighborhood guaglioni made their daily pilgrimage to Woolworth's candy counter where you worked. Their flirtations were novenas, their words hymns. Mama, you always said you could have had any man. You chose the one who made you laugh. One day, you realized you had lost your sense of humor. Mama, you tucked my infant body under your worn coat as you raced out of our burning house in the dead of winter, cursing God, something you would do for the rest of your life. Mama, you pulled me out from under the fallen marble mantle I climbed on, pounding on my chest to force breath back into my lungs, pulling me from a place I wanted to stay. Mama, you worried silently for years after a 5th grade nun told you I was a good student, but I acted too much like a girl. You couldn't convince yourself she was crazy. Mama, you tried so hard to understand the acoustic guitar, the long hair, the poetry published in the neighborhood weekly you knew concealed a terrible secret. Mama, you trembled visibly at your ironing board as I told you I was queer, something you already knew but didn't want to hear me say out loud. Mama, you brought me food and presents and kind words to me at work after Papa wouldn't let his queer son set foot in his house anymore. Mama, your prodigal son was finally allowed to come home that Christmas Day, just months before Papa died, and a year before you did. Mama, you of the morning panic attacks, the premonitions, the constant agita that sat in your stomach like rocks, you lived with so many regrets. I hope I wasn't one of them. Step right up, folks. Get your special Stonewall 50 edition of beer cans and vodka bottles, even sneakers. Not to mention the usual assortment of t-shirts, handkerchiefs, coffee mugs, and condoms. There's nothing we won't put a rainbow or transgender flag on. Well, maybe not toilet seats, but who knows? Never say never. After all, it's called a throne What queen wouldn't want a rainbow to sit on? The post office has Harvey Milk on a stamp. We've got our own LGBT national brand managers who know what you want the most for Pride this year. Don't be left standing out in the crowd with something that merely says queer and proud. Scream it with our logo on your chest or butt. It's time to stick up for something the brave patrons of the Stonewall Inn fought so hard for. Your right to be a market. Aren't you glad to know the legends are true? There really is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Vincent! I got you. I put you on. Vincent, give him a round, please.
Not to compete with Tommy or with this time space, but next Wednesday at Castro Market will be the celebration of Harvey Milk's birthday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. if you want to show up and have some fun. I'm sure there'll be lots of Absolute vodka. All right. Rob, thank you for the theme. And as Richard Sandoval reminds us, no one is legal on stolen land. So this is a poem. This is called Fear the Future, aka The Winds Down Guerrero Street. The fog will roll in from the north and burn off first from the south. The bridges will hold the droplets of moisture until dinner time, as lovers embrace through locked lips, while a wingless angel forgotten stands at the glistening edge, leaping, ending the present. She'll flick the kitchen light on first and wake her youngest up last, standing slipperless in the hallway, remembering the miscarriage who couldn't wait, tears always for the impatient. They say she didn't suffer long, she went quick, the rigor mortis set in, as the body bag zipper snagged her lacy front nightgown her daughter bought her on a Mother's Day years ago forgotten. She still doesn't allow her husband to undress her at night, only cradle her softly with the nightlight visible, and her calls to the detective go unreturned while her rape kit is untested, 9 months old. Once gentrification visits a neighborhood, who will remember that name, those people, that corner, whose culture, that lost identity which invites us in to stay? The wind whips up and grabs the leaves and debris of last night, becoming today and the future, as a woman stands with her newborn cradled in her arms, stale teardrops upon her neckline, her ignored, days-old soiled hand extended outward, begging for her next meal. And I told Tommy I write different voices, so here's a different voice. This is called The Distance Between. It was always idle chit-chat, the weather, a score, an outcome, the beginning or an end. But him always remembering my birthday, our anniversary, a graduation, even my daughter's missing incisor, or the whereabouts of a lost red plastic-coated Fisher-Price toy. When the flurries became common, they would arrive, light brown, square, rectangular, cylindrical, twined and stacked tall just beyond the gilded doorway. And once the boxes were claimed, not a single thought was left for him, only a clipboard many times bearing his name. Sometimes I could faintly hear the Mets game humming, Thorn and Rose with their play-by-plays amid a humid summer afternoon, but always quickly silenced if anyone approached for whatever reason on any given Sunday, but usually about the AC. Never once was I startled or even caught off guard, always knowing who knocked at my door. No unexpected visitors were allowed because he was our sentinel, winter to spring, day to night, summer to fall. When the news arrived, my husband's chute failed to open over Tasmania. Upon us returning from St. Patrick's all in black, he stood solemn, greeting me like a gentle sun rising in the east, letting me know more flowers had arrived. They would be arranged neatly in our upstairs foyer. Now remembering the day I heard the news, him chasing down 7 B's would-be robber. The bullet had pierced him through his charcoal gray long coat, bleeding out just above his emphatic heart. Days later, no one to claim him like he had always done for us, nothing ever stale or left behind. He might have lived as I did, as my child had, and all of us at Park Avenue East, but he was never as close as a morning salutation or a late evening goodnight, the distance always at a pace of short steps and somewhere else to be, something else to do. So as I stand here before God and remember a man I knew of but rarely thought of for the last 15 years, except when I was thinking only of myself, I may ask why the doorman is lonely, but now I know.
Oh, he knows it's him. Introduce yourself.
I know it's me. I know I'm me.
Every time he
But
looks
do
in the
you
mirror.
know you're you?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Not enough information. This is David Erdreich, by the way. Actually, it's just David Erdreich. Forget the by the way, that's not part of his name. He has something for us this evening. I will be following
From
him.
the Way of the Sufi by Idris Shah. The heaviest wave. Before Nushirvan the Just, wise sages discussed the heaviest wave in this deep sorrow. One of them said it was illness and suffering, another that it was old age and poverty, a third that it was approaching death with lack of work, and in the end, this one was accepted. The future is pork bellies. The present is a pig in the White House.
Oink, oink!
Hey, blockhead, don't worry about the muse. Meow. Just unsheath your subordinate claws. Trail of entrail. I mean, really, eviscerating birds to tell the future? Perhaps this arose from European man's misogynistic joining of woman and vulture as harpy, while prohibiting women from acting on stage for 1,000 years until the Renaissance.
Yep. What's up with that?
Poetry is the daily mail delivered by a long-dead relative in the form of a perfumed reverie. There's ore in Eeyore. I really owe a debt to Milne. AA, that is, that poo. Pentameter, iambic through and through. Storytelling by the by means of simplify, beginning and a point to send, you passing into time. Amusing, yes, concise as well. It's all achieved in rhyme. Take my voice, spare my throat, let me sing the words she wrote. Bead by bead, sill by sill, ability the room to fill with silent power, full boom, box. All that power to unlock, mirrors gleam, shattered glass, nascent dream goes drifting past. To pick a ninny, to fool the pool, reflecting flowers, a rippling tool, crease the beast, upset the cart, horn of plenty, supermart, meet the people, pennant, hoist. Wet the lips, keep them moist. Anthem, marching, palm to drum. I hear the bees, that gentle hum. Begin again on lowest rung. Rose knows decrees that spring has sprung. So sing the trees. I've accepted the unknown as my personal savior.
Hallelujah! Chapter 5 in the good book.
Am I done?
No, you got about
I got a little time? Okay, the current shit.
current shit.
This is today. If I keep it short, it need not be sweet. Poignancy, not abrupt, but discreet. Foul and tethered and obnoxious brew, in a pinch for the nonce, that will never do. Unfortunately, truth is for the very few. Are millennials numb to numbers? Poetry is listening to a finger symbol get a leg up on your arm's length as it falters your halter to a complete stop, rains in your teardrops, ties your tongue in a wisp of a lisp, lashes your eyes shut, then writes off the imagination of your mirror image as dyslexia reduced to an acronym. And finally, a haiku. If you want to honor me when I'm dead, write a poem about A, me, B, you, C, us, D, them, E, all of the above, F, none of the above, G, all of the below. Thank you.
Does it still? Let me just check it here. I didn't know I did that. Uh-oh. Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah. Well, there we go. There we go. Sorry. Okay. It looks good. Still. All right. Here we go.
I stand before you now. I will testify. Perhaps it'll be uncomfortable, but that's not my purpose.
So, let me do that. Put these on. Am I framed well here?
Now, this is short. It's entitled Analogous Trumpisms. So, for instance, his voice. A cheese grater scraping blistered, sunburnt skin off a newborn babe. Keep that image in your mind. His eyes, dysenteric, dysgenic, oozing wounds suffering from dyskinesia. His vocabulary, an insult to even a bumbling, babbling, drunken loser of a brook. His heart, a sad shard of obsidian reflecting only dark, negative images and ignorance. His soul, something vastly small, incredibly lost, forsaken, and unwanted, waiting on a call to action, yet fearing for its very life at the thought of coming to his aid.
Now let's try. And this one does carry on a bit, and it's modern, unfortunately, and it seems to be timeless, unfortunately. Only in America do teachers discuss becoming human shields, learn to take bullets meant for students, or schedule practice with their new free gun, some of the latest perks in their profession. Only in America do we have mass murderers ticking away at schools. Only in America is it impossible to do anything about such waste using our political tools. None of our leaders has an answer, not one, although it isn't because there is no answer under the sun of the 200 plus nations on earth. None have this rampant a problem. Yet we do not ask them for advice. What would a solution be worth? And can't we, the richest nation on earth, afford the price? But oh no, not us. We're not up to that task. We'll never stoop to ask. We'd rather go on and on, as if everything is just fine, as day in, day out there is headline after headline. Only in America do tens of thousands fall to gun violence each year. So many, many more spend their heart's worth consoling the survivors they hold dear. But let's have more memorials, more photos of dreamy-eyed innocents, all happily smiling just the moment before. Let us post their words of wisdom, tell tales of their talents, their salient, sparkling wit. Let us place candles and flowers and teddy bears as markers supposedly apt or fit.
Let pulpit pounders pontificate by the score with more tearful, poignant regrets, more meaningful quotes and salutary notes, politicians stumping on anecdotes and intimate clips of live action horror. Let's have all those things and more details to hear, more shots to see. We never seem to get enough, do we? With hundreds of thousands of deaths over the decades, more than we've lost in all our wars. Still, we cannot find a way. Still, we have no answer for the heartless minds that kill. But in America, the land of the free, home of the brave, we can't solve this, prevent it, or take it in hand. What would it take to do those things? We don't know. Our government hasn't taken a stand. So I'm more than bone-tired, more than puzzled. I'm angry at leaders who have nothing to say or do anything besides to cry it day after day. As for those who buy the talking heads on TV, who sit there lying, who then say, "Lone Wolf," God's mysterious ways. Let us pray. All the editors, media mavens whose actions make no sense are exactly those who could make a difference. But instead, they make absolutely no difference at all by doing nothing at all. Only in America is murder thus inspired, even condoned, while the sheeple bleat their chorus of useless remorse, mimicking useless words from useless leaders who lead them on and on in this horrific course. All the victims and mourners say enough is enough. So I'm glad to see the youth of America organize and get tough. I say demand your certain inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I will cheer you on as you get up, stand up, and show the right stuff. Thank you.
All right. I did go on. Oh, Bill Vartnaw. The wonderful Bill Vartnaw of Fame, Note, and Publishing is coming before you now. Give him a nice round. Welcome him warmly. He hasn't been here in a while.
I'm going to do a poem. Well,
I'll get closer to it.
Okay, I'll get closer. I'm going to do a poem by Carolee Sanchez, who used to live here. She lived here from 64 through 86, 7, somewhere around there. She was in charge of the poetry in the schools. She turned poetry in schools to a community organization instead of just somebody's friends teaching kids in school. So the Alabama law that was signed today reminded me of her poem, so I'd like to read it. It's called "This Is My Body." This is my body, to have and to hold, to infect, pollute, humiliate, wound, cleanse, contaminate, addict, or not. This is my body, to have and to hold, to fatten, reduce, girdle, show off, hide, pamper, batter, or deny. This is my hair, to cut, to dye, to streak, to bleach, to kink, to straighten, to grow as I please. This is my face, to stain, to powder, to paint, my nose, my eyes, my lips, my ears, my cheeks, my chin, to scrub, oil, cream, pluck, pierce, and shave, to remove wrinkles and pouches from, to leave to weather and age. These are my breasts, to give and to take away, to nourish my babies by giving, to feed my vanity by not giving, to uplift and let sag, to enlarge or remove, they belong to no one but me. This is my body, to have and to hold, my temple, my domain, to do with as I will, to inhabit or cast aside, if I so choose. My body, my temple, my domain, not ever to be ordered or disposed of by church or state without my knowledge, without my consent. No black-robed justice or judge, no white-robed pontiff or priest can claim legal or moral right in true conscience to dictate the use of my body by me. You, fathers, brothers, and sons who unjustly legislate the use of my womb, then hide behind the law to subjugate my body to your will and desire, you threaten my life every minute of every day in the name of your male God and the preservation of life. You, self-righteous rapists, exploiters, and murderers, accuse me of your crimes. This is my body, my temple, my domain. You, mothers and sisters and daughters who virtually agreed to give up your bodies to church and state, beware the sons you birth. Where will you turn when they bring you to trial? This is my body to have and to hold, to do with as I will.
I got time for one more? Yeah, you got a couple of minutes.
Yeah, okay,
All
this
right.
is a short.
All right.
This is called Hamlet in the Stars. Hamlet saw the ghost just before dawn on either the solstice or equinox, days that turned the round earth into a square, a formula every 2,000 years or so. The mill changes its expression, a sign of the times. Hamlet goes mad. In the play within a play, even the pole star changes. Adam and Eve must leave the garden. Eve was framed.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, so can Martin go next, and either you or I will both introduce him. Okay? Because we talked about, did we talk about that?
No, we did.
Okay, then I'll do it. All right, just thank you. Just want to make sure I had that, because I think I had that as an idea.
Okay.
As they say, Martin Joseph, will you kindly come forward here? Put this here. There you go. Give him a round, and then we'll be introducing the feature of the evening and taking care of business, as we like to call it.
Well, once again, good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Good evening.
Did everybody go? Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Good evening, but you also.
Okay, you are still here.
We are still here.
Seems to be a Mother's Day theme, it being a couple of days past Mother's Day. And I seem to have fallen into that theme, so let's go with it. It's called Garbage Bin Baby. It was you, Mother. You held my fate in your hands when that first orange sunrise cracked open the sleepy eyes of the city of Los Angeles. You looked down at the giant garbage bin and gently placed my swaddled innocence inside. Then, the thing that isn't supposed to happen, happened. The skies turned gray. The rain that never comes to Los Angeles poured down in buckets on the oily streets. The drops came so big and hard that they beat a mambo pattern on the metal surface of the garbage bin. The pace grew frenzied. The rain soaked everything in sight. From the bin in a back alley, no one heard the rhythm except you. It was no one's business to hear a tiny voice crying out from within the container. It was no one's business if that struggling voice became still, flowing with the river of souls among the oily patterns of light on water into the sewer systems of Los Angeles. It was no one's business, but yours, that is. I know you thought for a moment. I know you hesitated. You already had 2 other children from the husband who abandoned you. I was a different case, a bastard, born of the man that you tried to lure away from his own family, born of your desperation at viewing a future with no prospects, of making your way with no skills except doing laundry in a tub in a time when the washing machine was replacing even that. I and the law of unintended consequences, where the miracle of creation meets the miracle of survival. The rain splattered on your face like the holy water in the Catholic churches that were the staples of your life. Your disapproving mother and a line of disapproving mothers stretching all the way back to Ireland reached into your brain. They guided your hands back into the giant bin. You lifted my helpless body and held me tightly to your chest. You gave me the name of the man who had abandoned you and kept me from me until the day you died, the name of my real father. I am the law of unintended consequences, where the miracle of yesterday meets the miracle of tomorrow. I want to thank you for raising me in that house of horrors, because the gift of life itself outweighs all those other considerations. I learned that there was no real demons other than the temporary inhabitants of those around us when they've lost all forms of control. I learned the art of survival among those who were always so much larger than me. And when you finally did find a stepfather for your children, I learned that the sound of a 1956 Ford Fairlane engine pulling up to the house after the bars have closed could stop my heart from beating.
Martin Joseph! All right, just make sure I'm playing this again. It's all right. All right. You have survived thus far.
Even me. So this evening we have a special guest, Mr. Fuar Hand. Don't applaud yet, wait till I'm done. He says he's in fragile shape, and I believe that. He says he's been in the poetry scene for decades. I believe that. He says he's concerned about the truth, the way the world is, what it's becoming, what it has seemingly unintendedly evolved towards. I understand that. I understand he has a voice, a heart, a caring nature, a considerate, accurate view, a perspective of worth and note. His poetry ranges widely in terms of topic, subject, and even his approach. So we're going to introduce him in just a moment, but I have to ask him a question.
Do you still want someone to pick one pile?
Well, I'm going to ask for 4 volunteers.
Okay. All right.
And I would like each volunteer to pick from one of the...
Oh, you're organizing your reading.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we need 4 volunteers. Hands, please. Come on, let's go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We got 'em. All right. Please escort yourselves in this direction. He will point the papers, and he is organizing his reading with your considerate help.
Okay.
So there we go.
Well, you just grab one of 4 piles.
And take a couple out?
Just the pile.
There we go. So this is going to be a unique approach. I used to do things like this.
And go through the pile, and I will read what you choose.
Oh, great.
Okay?
All right.
Okay. There's all kinds of stuff in there. If it's a grocery list, I don't want to read that.
All right. So when you want to come up here so I can finish. I'll finish my introduction, and then you'll come up here to a round of applause, and hopefully these individuals will have several things selected in due course. So maybe I should wait a little bit.
No, I got a way of...
Oh, you have a way in. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, give QR Hand a wonderful round of applause. A man of note, merit, well known in the Bay Area. Come on, I don't hear it. This is about that. Yeah, there we go.
All right. So let me just make sure this is right for you, your height. You have to get really close to the mic, else it will not carry your voice. Let me just...
Hello!
There you go. Now let me make sure you're framed. Oh, you are framed.
Okay, I got a poem here that will give people time so that they don't have to really hurry. But I'm just going to start off with a haiku. The Nakba. I doubt it was forgotten, never remembered, I heard. Okay. B. Between a rock and a hard place. Sugar. In the first motherfucking place, it don't got to be anything but what it is. Exactly that. It ain't here just to please me and you or whoever. It's just like real life. In fact, it is. You and me just find ourselves in it. Didn't vote it in. No options. Exactly what it is what we in on, and on the one hand, it's surely a miracle, and on the other, it's the only one we got. Especially when you and me get it. Maybe it's like you're in this play. You're Castro. Your people are suffering the Yankee embargo, mixing infrasystems and ecostructures into measurable quantities of malnutrition and simple infections, increasing in frequencies and simple infections, increasing in frequencies. Now so much more easily tabulated, coded, recast into appeals to the world for simple justice in all of the languages that count. Yeah, you think. And I'm responsible for it all? Yo, Cuba Libre? Only you're Castro in this play. And you can choose what you want to be responsible for. Get it yet? It's what it is. On the one hand, you got to eat some shit to live. On the other, there's lots of it. Comprende? You dig? So what goes around comes around in the environment, and other terms of camouflage describing what's disappearing and disappeared into various viscosities who insist their ways into the food chains we've been subscribed to and choke others to pay for, construe this economic developments. Because it's one hell of a job keeping this shit bucket running on time with only the proper collusions protruding. It's a motherfucking mess. On the other hand, it's what it is. Some starve, some get overweight. I don't know if that's plot or fate, and ain't got time to clarify, because what it is hungry and leaves no bones. You know what I'm saying? On the one hand, it's a rat fuck. On the other, you could write a good novel about it if there were time. Tempus fugit. Whole peoples are taking off and putting on more different kinds of clothes in more different places is, and it's still not fashion to talk about them overexposures to lethal amounts of ripped off price tags, stapled to roguish voguings we stash in back of the closets, a marauder of naked corpses frozen stiff in an alley of winter ski magazines say does not exist, about to put on a uniform, searching for some bloody whereabouts. Here, a high electric scissors, a tailor with a picture. But you and me is trying to get away from the clip joint. But we don't want to be naked in the eyes of the hawk. You know what I mean? What it is, baby, it's cold outside. And that's just what it is in the first motherfucking place. Something's up, and me and you is the only jigs around.
All right, we got one. Is this one? Okay.
Bubba.
Yeah, is this by Al Young?
Yes.
Okay, great. I got it. All right.
Right on.
Thank you. All right.
From the works of Al Young, who needs our blessings
Yes.
and I hope everything. He's always been, not always, but then came a point I said, wow, this man should be Secretary of State. The cost of loss. The blues we lose makes room for more to bloom. Blues need a human being who can sing. To sing means you've got joy to and hurt to tell. If you can walk, then you can dance, and if you can't talk, you can grunt your message. You can whisper it in language we compose, the way we blink at one another, like your father to your mother when they got together, maybe unaware that you would end up the result. Just hold your breath. The cost of loss is life. The price of death. We lose more than we even know to mourn. Each love a huge anthology, a life no Wikipedia can sum up, a feast. We gain more than we lose. We die reborn. The cost of loss. Al Young.
The next two that I have, and then we have one more, at least one more
okay,
coming.
this is not complete. So
Okay, all right.
I mean, I got it in the book there. I could do that.
All right.
This is one that's called Celebration Time. It was a very, very fine, nice romance that was short, didn't end very, very sweetly. But the really foxy, on-time woman who was a psychiatrist and who one year led the Carnival parade down Mission Street in pasties and G-string that she made. Yeah. Anyhow, very interesting woman who unfortunately died of cancer, which she fought for about 10 years, I understand. That was all. Anyhow, so this is, I'd say sometime in the 80s. It's called, I'm hoping my teeth are holding on all right. Celebration Time. Through the streets of El Barrio, down Team and Mission like New York at high noon. Nothing snows all the way up the Palm Boulevard of Dolores, sneaking through the alley round about midnight at one with the cats, catching the sounds at Bay Jones, flying high with the Bishop, Ed Kelly, and Babatunde, Batishanga, and Batukaji. We were the carnival on all the islands, on all the warm seas, sweeping through the cultural center, La Galleria, Ecuan, Alejandro, Roberto, JR, and Kush. Hanging with friends at the bar, we picked a way through the labyrinthine psychoses, plotting drunkenly with the warps of the people's ill-timed ways of life, hard and zesty. Across the continent and back, we dug Harlem and the North Shore in the middle of a storm, slid into and out of the bowels of Death Valley, the Sierras, and the Redwoods, tripped by jet stream to the reservations, wringing moisture out of the deserts, and the lonely peoples there still ran a dry creek beds, secret springs, pinned the only unapproachable cactus, sporting a yellow flower under moon sliver and every star ever, while the lightning whips the horizon red and violent, bruising the night with the swift, nimble tentacles of the universal cyclotron. We saw sadness we are powerless to change without many friends. We heard Bob Dylan singing Hard Rain's Gonna Fall when there was no stereo, no plugs for non-existent wires. We saw Bob Kaufman's abominous manifesto sitting in the chair on the tightrope at the top of the circus tent with no net underneath to catch a falling star, committing a flagrant act of faith, while the wolves circled the camp with a garland of holly and roses, and crept to shed a tear on the holy babe, copulating with intransitives, being only themselves in jolly mitosis symbiotic cradles. We danced to the endless strains of silent forest deep in a glade of psychedelic shimmers, and swam the lakes in otter trances, counting the tinkle of each cowbell on the bottom, fossils festooning our eyelids and trailing round breast genitals, shooting the rapids between our toes with new life and terrapin beaks to hold on to molecular jisms, squirm squeals that rocked with crab and crayfish bonnets till the sun cried endgame through ethereal greens, and we rested in a loft of mirrors. All this we did in 1 year, love, and now begin again. Should have had dated 9/9/82. Should have had a few more years like that.
Okay, so did you want to do this one from the book?
Oh, I can do it from the book.
Okay,
yeah.
you said you might do that, and then I got a few others here that people
sure.
showed in. All right.
I got it here. I know that. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. It's called the Rap from Living on Dreams, and it comes from a mini drama series that was done at the Galleria della Raza very early in the 80s, and it was its theme was the plight of artists on the Alps. Okay. In San Francisco, the great town of the artists. But there are a lot of people who ain't in on that. Anyhow, the whole concept, there were 7 mini plays or mini dramas of many types, and the theme was called the Living on Dreams. So this is the rap from Living on Dreams. I got to tell you my story, gotta tell you my story. Got to play you my music, gotta sing you my songs. Hey, I got to tell you I stepped out here with nothing. That's what I'm holding on to, doing my damnedest to keep it too. I gave up on Ted Mack even long before I was born. Can't get next to Ed Sullivan. Got no time for Dick Clark, that's for sure. I play backyard parties, you know, barbecue blues, those parties, projects, dance halls down the block, music that matters for people that matters. I got to play you my music. Got to sing you my song. I ain't got no new dances to sweep up this nation with. No eyes filled with admiration from that sister with the big ones on the corner. Won't see my record shout to #1 on anybody's charts. All I do is play from the heart. Music, my music, sweet music. Music of the dreams we hide in basements, attics, little niches, in the trunk of the car. Hey, let me tell you, I do it without the producer's scheme. I live on dreams, worshiping sounds, not living on promise in the usual way. I live on dreams. I left the almighty buck way behind. Beneath the rock, all them dollars holler from. They call me Duck, 'cause I don't give a fuck. You know what? I'm living on dreams and worshiping sounds in a way that really counts for me. I'm living on dreams, worshiping sounds in a way that really counts. Living on dreams, worshiping sounds. Listen to the sounds. Listen. Listen. Oh, listen. But let me tell you one thing for sure. San Francisco is slow. San Francisco is so slow. San Francisco is so slow when you're in a hurry. Like when I'm in a hurry, waiting for a bus gets there so slow, like my time don't matter. America is so slow. Lines at the bank move like money always has the same value, no matter what time it is, no matter how fast I need to move. The country is slow. San Francisco always slower than molasses in winter, and just when you begin to make time and catch up, got to transfer to another, gets there slower than the first. I gotta keep moving. Bus has me standing here waiting while my mind goes at universal speed, outracing the whole nation, and I just missed the transfer.
So you're right about a few more minutes, and these are the things that people sent us. So yeah, about you can maybe do one or two of them, something like that, but that be really short. Right.
Okay, this is interesting stuff that I got, which is of good friends. My name is Quentin Roosevelt Hand Jr. My daddy was Quentin Roosevelt Hand, and he was one of the first pharmacists, first black pharmacist to own a store of his own in Harlem. It was quite a while ago. I'm 82 years old. I grew up basically in Bed-Stuy and Central Harlem. Don't know. I was born on Bainbridge Street between Stuyvesant and Lewis, and went to PS 70 on Macon Street between Patchen and Brown. A real strange life that it turned. One of my best friends turns in life turns out to be a white man whom we met in a black resort. At that time it was black. Black Harlem used to be black. In Sky Harbor, Long Island. Now you couldn't. We had a little house there. It turned out not that house. It won $1 million for this little house. It's really crazy. Anyhow, That's where I met John Ross, who was a very, very good friend. He's a hell of a journalist, a poet, a historian. He wrote lots of different kinds of books, and he is quite a fine, fine spirit. And his son is the big music impresario Dante Ross, by the way. Yeah, he's a basketball fan too. Okay, good. And I don't know any order. For those of you who are basketball fans, me and John edited a basketball book by Roman second mess. I couldn't find it. It's called yeah.
We came to play.
They came to play, and it's North Atlantic Press. It came out. Well, it came out when what's his name was still in high school. The brother who's making it big in China now. I'm just blocking his name. Goddamn. Well, anyhow, this is from that book called Playoff. He does a little quote like I don't know if he caught some of my lifts from back there, but he even slipped in a little Rilke here. But anyhow, okay. When music, the other side of air, played itself for the championship of the kingdom of sound, the stars did not miss a hoop. The power forwards slammed dunk like they found God at the bottom of a bucket. The point guards pulled strings with fingers taut as arrows and hit the rim shots like rainbows on the run. The center held. Who won? All won. All won.
Okay, so something really short and really
Okay, another one of his. This will be a short one. Yeah, it's on it. I don't get the hook. This is another poem of John's. The revolution is not like a faucet. The revolution does not begin over coffee at the Epicurean, does not begin with gravy and grits in the first joint, the last hit, the morning cron, your morning shit. The revolution does not begin pulling green chain on the graveyard shift or making the welfare line by 9. The revolution doesn't begin in your mind. Your heart, your liver, your prick doesn't begin when you clench your fist. The revolution doesn't begin in 1775, 1917. The Depression, the dawn, doesn't begin with gurus, CQs, the news from LA, Havana, Manana. The revolution doesn't begin with both barrels at the bottom of bottles, on the pages of Bibles, with the blues. The revolution does not begin. The revolution has no beginning. The revolution is unending. The revolution is not like a faucet. You can't turn it on and off. The revolution leaks all the time. You can't call a plumber to fix it. From the works of John Ross. Thank you for listening.
Give you a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
So we're going to take a
Thank you. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Did you bring books?
Did I get it all back?
Yeah, I think you did. Do you have any books or anything? That just,
Yeah. On that table there's a very, very fine book of mine. And you can get a copy starting at $16.95, which is the regular price. And if you got $50, you can get one for $50. If you got 50 cents, you can get one for 50 cents.
there you go. So see about that on the break. We'll be coming back with the cursive writer as the last word. He'll introduce the second show. Thank you so much. Thank you. I like the approach of having different people pick stuff. I'm gonna next time I have one of these things, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take your idea. I like that idea.
Recognize that here? Yeah.
It's one of my favorite books.
Oh, that's
This guy was a hell of a writer.
Oh shit, yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah.
Buford and you know Buford, right? Yeah. Okay, so after him, good job. He's your signature. Huh? Oh, okay. Well, I could go like this. Well, that's probably. I don't think we're going to get anybody else. I'm going to go like this. Yeah. You know that the cursive writer, he'll end it, but you'll come right before. Okay. And I put you in. Oh, she's at home. She decided, like, it's raining.
I know.
Blah, blah, blah,
I kept
blah.
saying, I just don't feel up to it every week.
There you go.
So, but you keep asking for
We like you. Stop it.
Oh, yeah. That's all. Oh, what's his name?
Is this your Rob? W-R-O-B. Small W. You're I think yeah. So you're about 10 in or something like that. All right. Are you gonna do comedy also or poetry?
No, I have poems.
Oh, good.
But the came ideas came from Los Angeles. I'm gonna be home soon.
Okay,
But I
so
definitely want to come here another time.
what if I hold on?
Northern Sweden. Ice and snow and aurora borealis and all that good stuff.
And you slipped on the ice and snow.
I slipped on the ice and
The guy that kicks it off, and
So
then
you had to stay there.
No, well, no, as a matter of fact, I came home. They wanted me to stay there for 2 weeks to get rehab. They after surgery.
That's what my sister did. The doctor got mad at her, so she cursed him out. Then changed doctors.
Oh, where was that? In
I was
Sweden?
in Colorado.
Oh, well, Sweden.
She said, I don't want to do this. She said, get out of the crack.
No,
Where's
it
my
really,
pills?
It really wasn't that way. It was, they were so nice, but partly they kept saying, but this is Sweden. This isn't like the United States. Things are free here. And I said, you know what? We have to taxes in Sweden. That's not fair. I'm going home.
I got to use the
I just
facility.
said, anyway, yeah.
So these are things.
Yeah, these are things, and there are more of these things.
Okay, all right.
Fresh over. I try to bring stuff that you, and this is a book that I actually got from you maybe a year ago, so nobody will recognize it. And here's your 2ST, and then they're just different.
Okay. Magazine thingies. Okay. I'm going to try to use the
And then
facility
you
if I
use
can.
This, you're one of those. All right. I think they're different ones than I had before.
Hey, we're good.
Did you write the words that
Yes, yes.
They bad.
They
They bad.
That's the honor deal on that wall. Hey, do you have a CD player?
Oh, damn. I should have had you play the way.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh.
Thank you, sir. No, you did fine by yourself. You did just fine. She is the belle of the ball.
Well, hardly. The bell.
The ding-a-ling.
The ding-a-ling.
Look out, I've been back east. I've been back east.
Where'd you go?
I went to New York, then we went to Philly, and I played music with my sisters, which we had never, I played with one. I came from Poughkeepsie, but my family lives in New York. Anyhow, what do you mean I don't sound like a come from New York? Brooklyn. My family come from Brooklyn.
You guys said the Bronx, and then you're related to Alexandria. Because you're from there, so yeah.
Then, after that, after playing with my sisters together, the three of us, for the first time ever.
Since when?
No, I had played with one sister about 5 and 6 years ago. We did a recorder trio. The other sister, well, one's a flute player, one's a piano player. Okay. But we never played all three together. And about 4 days after that, I helped cater a party, 11 people for my grade school reunion. I hadn't seen these girls in 60 years. Yeah, in Poughkeepsie. I like the way you say Poughkeepsie. It's Poughkeepsie. It's an Indian name. It means something like safe and gentle harbor.
Oh, yeah. First time in a while since Brady Day.
So it sounds like fun. You must have been
Oh, man. I
probably will in June and July. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, we did enjoy it.
Well,
Are you using this?
oh, yeah.
What happened to the other guy?
Oh, I have to carry it.
Yeah. She's trying to, she's got all kinds of work.
I have to carry
She's trying to,
No, I don't carry it.
Great shoes. I like the color.
Oh, yes, they match. Color coordinated. So, yeah, life goes on, but it's all the same level. And it's still, there's still no.
You got a what?
So that sounds like you're trying to.
Like great fun.
What did you do?
We went to see a show. We said Pepperland, which was so in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was on Sergeant Pepper's. This guy, what was his name? Something anyhow. Hicks. A dance choreographer. Pepperland.
I know.
But it was we're trying to improve on the original. It was, I give it about a B. It was okay, but
It's like trying to improve
on
Shakespeare.
yeah, exactly. What else did I do?
Well, everybody has to say.
That was pretty much it. It was great. A little rainy at the very end, but not bad. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
So you just got back?
Yeah, I got back 2 days ago. Right away went to a function reading that evening in Berkeley. Yeah, that Berkeley one is Poetry Express. Yeah, it's 3 blocks from where I live.
Is it well visited? The poetry reading in Berkeley?
The features are good. I have mixed feelings. I like this place much better. The audience is much hipper here.
Quite a ways to get here.
An hour. It's not bad. Public transit. You know, it's cool in Philadelphia. We went and had our pictures taken, me and my sister, and we could ride all the municipal stuff for free. For 65. All the trains, all the buses, free. What, for here? Yeah, well, so do I, but it's free is better. Yeah, you know, free is better. Trust me, free is better.
I mean, because they're first time.
Go, Dano.
Dad?
Walk him up, Dano.
Now I have to
Book him.
and people said, I told you about that change. They noticed it, so you did it.
So,
You are perfect.
yeah, I brought Dan some new things to give away. I have now mostly one book that I said.
Yeah. You said alone. It's like you're a bright light.
You know what I do? I put all the stuff that I get here in our library, and not that anyone's ever going to read it. Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats, or if you already have a seat, which everybody does, place it in a chair. We're about to get started with the second half. I want to let you know that the first half went very well in terms of time, so I'd like to get everybody on so you can shave it, keep careful, listen to the beeper, help me out, help yourself out. Empty your back pockets and let me have whatever is there. I'll take 10%. And everybody else gets something else. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's hear some applause out there.
All right. We're on. We gotta get it set up for him.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The cursive writer is coming forward. Give him a round of applause with David Erdreich as an accompanist. Ladies and gentlemen, with a bad Scottish accent, I invite you all to listen and be careful. Would you?
Move it this way, so I have room to stand here. Just a little bit.
There we go. Now we're cooking with gas, as my mom used to say. Really? Greatest thing
That's
since
what he
sliced
did.
bread.
He just did that. Yeah, you heard him right. All right.
All right, there we go.
All right. Well, I guess I should toot my own horn.
Toot.
On the 27th of this month at 7 o'clock at Harrington's Furniture on Valencia, Bay Area Generations. I'm paired up with Just Delay. And the reason I'm telling you is you guys can see me pretty much all the time. But Just Delay is leaving town. And this is a young woman. I don't make predictions, but in my heart and in my mind, I think this woman is going to be heard from. She's young, vibrant. She's done a play called Depression Diaries. She's a poet. She does prose. I think, and you should see her before she leaves because you may never get that chance.
All right.
Where's she going?
Bloomington, Indiana, continuing school.
University of Indiana.
Indiana University.
Yes, but she's a young black woman, and the only two places safe for her there is Indianapolis and Bloomington. She's got to go in between, though.
I found Bloomington pretty crazy.
Well, it is. All right, happy society. Don't want to be looked at? Wear a burqa. Will disturb those around you, especially those inquiring minds. Men should be made to wear burqas as women. Seeing them in shorts, tank tops may drive some women sexually crazy, as men claim women do. Men may love or hate the burqa, but will know what it's like. Men, their superiority found out to be a big con. Their eminence fronts cracking where nothing holds together like empires, gods. You'll find you might be better like when you stop hitting your hammer onto your hand. Life gets better when you stop beating yourself up. Lessons I'm trying to learn every day. USA, tough place to grow up, where livening up your step becomes difficult. After wars, rapes, abuse, racism, for someone's economic gain. Homo sapiens know how to dish a cold dish. That's why rise up, rail against those making one crazy. Stand against the violent Homo sapiens. Find your humanity. Don't live up to the standards of money, position, trophy wives, husbands, all narrow contexts of what a good life really offers. Happy society? Don't think so. For most, it's a great pretense. Even the pretenders in The Great Pretender were better than all of the new pretensions, same as the old pretensions. At least the pretenders didn't have to pretend. They are, after all, what they sing and play about. Pretenders lacking pretensions. Living in USA where everything becomes Disneyfied, commodified. Great lying pompous pretensions who pretend they have the right to rule us, not us rule them. Since when did we believe government reigns over us? Democracy. We're denying voting rights, gerrymandering's part of democracy we try to sell the world. Since when is breaking treaties acceptable law? Imprisoning those we made treaties because of who they are and what they own or in possession of? Since when did humans stand by and accept the unacceptable as acceptable? Poetry like music. Like all things, poetry is here and it's gone like music. Love leaves its residue, hate its stench. Ranting, raving with rhythm so you groove, tap your feet, dance to words. Listen, might hear things never expressed, heard as should. Some prose spoken words said by madmen who keep repeating things to madness, never ever sane in beat, melody, out of time, flat as in thought. Down hard on the one, begin! Let it flow, your humanity, through breath, words. Let it catch rhythm, voice. Give it up, your anger, joy. Yes, your love, joy. Give it up, Homo sapiens, but not your humanity. Poetry is like music, like music, like music. Down hard on the one.
We have another new individual for her first time here. Give it up for Lauren, who's coming up here. She's going to read something or do some poetry. Get ready. Come on in here. This is Lauren. Oh my God! In the house.
You guys are very rowdy. Okay. Things I tell myself. Someday, I will become another deteriorated memory of something, of someone. I'll be a fossil preserved in amber, an old photograph with coffee stains and a quick written description on the back. My mind will brew into a thick clump of mud, and I will dissolve into empty, gray nothingness.
Wow.
All right.
I like optimism.
Okay, that was pretty but okay. I want to read poems to park pigeons. I feel like myself on the 1st of May. I want to fall for you and be smitten. I want to read you the best of Hemingway. I want to sing songs to bums on the bus. I wish that loving me was not so hard. I want to clean up beach cigarette butts. I could count your freckles like they were stars. I want to dance alone to Ellington. I want to memorize sonnets by heart. I will write you a verse with witty puns. We'll have nights we can't tell apart. And then this one is called I'm Learning to Be Original because it's pretty absurd and weird. Hop in my car and we will explode in slow motion. Take this Valium and we can swing dance in outer space. Sit at the corner of the earth with me and we'll dangle our legs over a pool of sharks. Stand there with blood on your lips and give me a smile. We're beginning to get good at robbing banks backwards now.
Wow. Thank you. Lauren, who's new? Come back. Both of you, please. All right. Buford Bunton. And then we have Soul Brother, AJ, Rob, and, you're the mini feature, Buford.
Yeah.
So you want to do your mini right now? Yeah, go on.
No, just wait.
Okay, okay, then we got Soul Brother, then AJ, then Rob, then the mini feature. Sorry about that. I goofed you up. All right, let me get this going here for you.
That's right. This piece is called Static. If what we want exists somewhere, then there we must go. Go. Yeah, we gotta go. 'Cause we can time travel through portholes of souls, see? Read, and reading makes the unknown known. We must reach out for the rope, grab it and bring it back to perform it. So Sister 6 is on stage with Soul Brother number 9, coming of age. The greatest of tricks Master manifest was to make us believe there's no need to protest. Yeah. See, protestation and complaining aren't the same, see. Protesting is from a seat of power. I mean power, you got the power. But complaints fall dead on deaf ears like acid raindrops on plastic flowers, or counterfeit courage on cowards, or the prayers of people to politicians in privileged partisan towers. Yet, beanstalks sprout and grow through barbed wire and cracks in concrete. Proper protocol prevents biggies from dying over small beefs. And picnics have been replayed and rebooted and replaced by mobs of cop killings. You know, like dealers copping dope, copping unwanted touches, cons, copping to lesser charges, leaders copping an occidental attitude, and too many men just copping out in abandoned home. Brothers used to play. Brother used to practice hanging out. Now mass incarceration is strangling the healing, causing us to backslide into constitutional slavery, where brothers are subject to programming just to get out. We interrupt this program to bring you the truth, as seen through the words of the evolutionaries. Shh, no signal. Please stay tuned. Shh, just your signals. Now, we must reach out for the rope. Grab it and bring it back to secure the community's hope. Wars are only won when transformation is done. Sacred Ground Cafe is the station introducing a new age of the S-class of the soul train. And Soul Brother number 9 is conducting as the Queen of Soul in peace is resting, taking you from confusion to come function. Are you the static? Let the righteous right hand record reflect as you reach. Hum.
Well, Brother number 9. AJ. So we have AJ, then Rob, then Buford Armini, and then Sharon after that. For God's sakes, why do I go to a fake Scottish accent for that?
Is connected successfully.
Well, I'm not fake Scottish, I'm a real thing. What happened to
Reparations.
All right, this is me with a glove in my head, and this is my first copyright with Devil's Corner. It was one in the background, it's 1 seat, 2 seats, about 5-6 minutes. If I do real fast, so I don't have time to waste. So here we go. We're gonna start solo. Trick here in the nighttime. It's a 12 poems, 1 body. Devil's Corner, copywritten. Solo. Trigger in the nighttime. Daylight shatters the truth. It's lurking around and it's looking for you. So here's another solo shot against you too. Carefully remembering all the nonsense and loot. This day has no name, all the clocks have been broken. It's time for your nothing. Watch for mirrors that are smoking. We've heard all your thoughts, and now your last line. Outside, out of mind. Crucify your business here. Reality, situation, indifference, my dear. Insults and gestures to all good night. Repeats and copies for game master fight. Control from the left, control from the right. This noise makes me deaf. This view out of sight. Releasing the freedom to glorify heights. Now back to the front with disappearing last rites. You or me. Search for me, I'll see you there. Find me once, and then again, we're back and forth wherever we're hide together in our sin. It's us and them, it's her or he. It's I, it's you or me. It's up and down, it's left to right, it's in and out, it's day and night. It's one more time for your poetry. Woe to those, O earth and sea. Mr. Masquerade. Mr. Masquerade, can I see your true colors? Run by invisible, climb for 7, 8, 9 in the alley. Mr. Jingle Jangle, run down the deck. A sudden wind blows by, you can feel it on your neck. World turning, check that bag, 3 times 2 is 6. We all wonder how and why while going through the sticks. So poetic lines with simple patterns, all while hoping soon that our mishaps will soon be shattered. Can't hear that shit anyway, so. Checkered past, a checker ghost just by the water, purple and oranges if you get in your spirit. See you soon or not, perhaps you never left anyways. Fly with free will, enjoy the new time, honey, there's work to be done now, payday will come eventually. Hell or high water for the blessed reversal, love, hugs and kisses, which white, white and blue. Go universal for that ever so special reason. Listen to the music, cause God changes seasons. Where did you come from and why are you here? Walk that fine line now, free will's feeling queer. The runaround, certainty as the moment passes, running in head, circle idle chatter, another day turns a night with the yearning, snickers and chuckles, simple words are recorded. All rise, court of law, held up, court of law, trumpet sound, court of law, pushing through the clutter, wondering what the glass is, reflection running by me just a little faster, transparent as I learned, it's on, reporting what the Lord said. Satire under fire, no one am I currently heating it up. It battled back just a little abrupt. You're just like me, you're living to die. Open your eyes, let them all cry, let the tears dry. Say hello, say goodbye. New bird rising just to get shot down. Fine, fine. Remember the call. Felt to succeed is no short tall. The smiles are different, eyes all frown. What we got here? I alone, the bone. Confusion being set with a little mind game too. It's a troubled path that comes together. The two of us are here together. All comes through for old news. I don't know you, you don't know me, and I don't know you. Break that down and go downtown. It's around the ball. Relay, and spirit death to all. Don't trip. This nerve will pass. Cool Street comes back too. Take a hike and goes hunt later. See tonight at the tailgate party. Rubber neck and stilted walk. Cut them down and stand alone. You don't know me yet. Do your thing. It can't be us. It's you or me. Wave slave. There it is again, all dressed up in white, blood dripping from its mouth, and a crowd trying to spite. Tree limbs are screeching and holding them up. These frequency triggers are being pulled. It's my sanity zone, frigid and lo and behold. Be prepared, you barely made it this time. Use your head, no more room for mistakes, no more family or friends, just you and your fate. Energy harvest is a new moon is lit. All I have to say is know your place in all this. Hard training is power of the cross. Catch my drift? Yeah, words of wisdom, huh? Drifter, man. Threw out a new master plan back on that flying air train again. Subject failure's been executed, man. All this time is seen, I still can't, so fuck it. They're back, and they're better than past time. Progressive Kiers are walking new line. OTTJ. Out of the jungle. The natives chasing me. Leave me the fuck alone. Why can't you let me be? Out of the jungle. I have no sense to hear. I'm feeling all confused, and now they're throwing spears. Out of the jungle. That's where I must get to. I must lock the cages like the shithole zoo. Out of the jungle. I'm running real fast. I need a first, not last. Try to escape my past. Out of the jungle. I squeak my knife so tight. Natives keep death from me. I have no sense of sight. Out of the jungle. I'm gonna turn around. Look natives in the eye before they take me down. I'm sick of running. He'll go down gunning. The sense of fear settles me. Suddenly now I see. Out of the jungle, this sense of sight returns, a lesson taught and learned. Out of the jungle, he sees her vicious eyes, and now he hears her cries. Out of the jungle, this sense of sound is back. He's ready for attack. I raise my blade. I scream. Mind's eye glimpse. Mind's eye glimpse. Sick stomach with a glimpse of mind's eye. Rising light with steps from dying to die. It's from you to me, or me to you. I. Next step better, homeward bound. Might not be time yet, lost or found. New day rising, sun shines down. You create your one more. This is about less than a minute, so we're gonna hear one more. You're changing. You're controlling chaos when habits change. Mind's like let's fire now, short to long range. This backstab cheat shots might get you some change. Back to this thing, my mind's eye. Sane or insane, it's still deranged. Salutations with up, so eat your lives. You can't come back here now, strange. So fuck your look out in your head. You're no better, maybe. That's tally others like maybe it's dead. So score. This is score. Right, this last one. The ultimate contender might be upon us, lies from lying doctors we trust. Only to breed a cycle that spins left to lust. Farther sight sees riddles solved because angles of incidence are not always measured. Different degrees of loading put together in another. Chase that down and mount to the wall. Ultimate goal is a small winds pick it up, gets put back down right in the spot. Yeah, I heard about the new noise. Jokes, spirit conundrums, killing boys. Just another day to live and enjoy. It looks like I missed one line, but another speculated fuck up's been deployed. Fuck you. Whoever the fuck you are, and the second C didn't work too well. Sorry about the microphone. Sorry.
Rob. Thank you. Hey, Jay. And this is Rob, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you didn't know. And if you haven't heard him, you now shall. You shall have your debut. Or as my mom would say, debut. She said all kinds of things like that, and I didn't know that was the wrong way to say it until I got to college, and then I was suitably embarrassed. Jesus. She thought it was funny, though.
All right, here we go. This is a new song. This is called "Future Woman." Future woman came from the future to save the sea and air and grasses and pull everybody's heads out of everybody's asses. Fly, future woman, fly. Roar up into the sky. She'll help every loser to win, but not before noon. She likes to sleep in. She squirts estrogen missiles that transform jerks and narcissists. Her favorite targets? Telemarketers and televangelists. Shaving her head but nowhere else. Toppling tyrants with her sense of humor. Dangling CEOs over volcanoes. Writing algorithms to cure tumors. Fly, future woman, fly. She always stops for a nice piece of pie. She knows it's not about evil versus good. She knows that monsters are misunderstood. She never lets anyone cry or masturbate alone. If she hasn't gotten to you yet, well, there are 8 billion of us. Can we stop fucking already? 2, 3, 4, fly, future woman, fly. Soar up into the sky, smashing and trashing every single gun, flipping factory farms into the sun. Building bridges and knocking down walls, finding male gods and yanking off their balls, punting the hunters and nailing the whalers, belching and farting like a pack of sailors, feeding starving babies with her normal-sized boobs, doing it all in sensible shoes, annihilating the axis of evil, Hallmark, Disney, American Idol! Fly, future woman, fly, roar up into the sky. She'll save the day, but she's never ever pushy, soaring away with a wiggle of her tushy. Fly, future woman, fly, roar up into the sky. She's got a shit ton to do. She could use a little help from me and you.
Nowhere else in the universe has that song been presented as it was here. Thank you. And now we come to my co-pilot here, Miss Sharon Scott Kish. Oh, wait. Oh, Buford. The mini feature. Sorry about that. Buford, the mini. Let's go. Give him a round, please. He comes up here and challenges us with our reality and lets us know where the hell we are. All right.
Thank you. I hope that's good.
It is good.
Okay.
I mean, you're good. I thought never mind.
All right. When I'm an uppity up, I'll invite all the people to come up to my steeple. I'll have them to dinner, to lunch, and to sup when I'm an uppity up. The ones who will be there, all people from the street, will not find their lives being something not neat. Okay, that's enough of that.
Winging it, brother.
Well, yeah, but I just forgot it. It's about 40 years old.
Whiskey on the rocks, not neat.
All right. Let's see. I want to do these next. The last one is going to be from Robert Frost. Somebody put Robert Frost poems on my desk, so they must know I like to do this stuff. I have a fine life, good health for my age, nearing 70 and still working. Though still working, someone might disagree with, think, don't you have enough money to live on? My answer would be no, emphatically. Not enough for the rest of my life, or even maybe for the next few months. Bills to pay, fun to have, are all super important. My life not terrible. Friends I love and who seem to love or at least like me. Poetry to write is one of the most important things. Life short. But that's enough of my philosophy. All right. Biting into lima beans as a child, something to counter the fried chicken I craved. Now, even fresh to organic food that I eat here in Khalifa, or California if you prefer. Fresh vegetables, in a pot on the stove. My grandmother in her gray hair sweating over the family stove. My mother very petite and working hard for 37 years. Big Mama always at home. Life slow. Unfortunately, too conservative for California me. My, all of this satisfies my palate and my soul. All right. Okay, I'm gonna read a little Frost, because Frost. Some of his stuff is, kind of dull, but some of it isn't. And this was one that he did. He and Jack Kennedy died about 2 years apart, because obviously why Jack was so close to his death. But this is called For John F. Kennedy, his inauguration. Summoning artists to participate in the august occasions of state seems something artists ought to celebrate. Today is for my cause a day of days, and his be poetry old-fashioned praise, who was the first to think of such a thing. The verse that in acknowledgement I bring back to the beginning of the end of what had been for centuries the trend, a turning point in modern history. Colonial has been the thing to be, as long as the great issue was to see what country be the one to dominate by character, by tongue, by native trait. The new world Christopher Columbus found. The French, the Spanish, and the Dutch were downed and counted out. Heroic deeds were done. Elizabeth I and England won. Now came on a new order of the ages, that in the Latin of our founding ages, it is not written on the dollar bill. We carry in our purse and pocket still. God nodded his approval as good, so much that heroes knew and understood. I mean, the great four, Washington, I don't necessarily agree with this, but the Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and to me, I had Barack Obama. So much they knew as consecrated seers. They must have been ahead. They must have been seen ahead what now appears. They would bring empires down upon our ears, and by the example of our declaration, make everybody want to be a nation. And this is no aristocratic joke at the expense of negligible folk. We see how seriously the races swarm in their attempts at sovereignty and form. They are our wards, we think, to some extent, for the time being, and with their consent, to teach them how democracy is meant. Quote, new order of the ages, unquote, did we say. If it looks none too orderly today, 'tis a confusion, 'tis ours to start. So in it we have to take courageous part. No one of honest feeling would approve a ruler who pretended not to love. That's what we have right now. He didn't say that, of course. A turbulence he had the better of. Everyone knows the glory of the twain who gave America the aeroplane to ride the whirlwind and the hurricane. Some poor fool has been saying in his heart, glory is out of date in life and art. Our venture in revolution and outlawry has justified itself in freedom's story, right down to now in glory upon glory. Come fresh from an election like the last, the greatest vote a people ever cast, so close yet sure to be abided by. It is no miracle, our God is high. Courage is the air in bracing whiffs, better than the stalemate ands and ifs. There was the book of profile tales declaring for the emboldened politicians daring to break the followers when in the wrong. A healthy independence of the throng, a democratic form of right divine, to rule first, answerable to high design. There is a call to life a little sterner and braver for the earner, learner, yearner, less criticism of the field and court and more preoccupation with the sport, to make the prophet in all presage the glory of the next Augustinian age, of a power leading from its strength and pride, of young ambition eager to be tried first in our free beliefs without dismay in any game the nation wants to play. A golden age of poetry and power, of which this noonday's the beginning hour. Away is frost, and this was Louis Untermeyer who edited the book. This was his comment on, and there's just a little bit more. This is his comment on Frost's words. Away is frost in his most whimsical mood. Although, I don't think it's too whimsical, but that's what he says. Although written in his 80s, it is a neatly made and as nimbly fanciful as any of his earlier and more accomplished rhymes. As if in answer to those who may be confused by the paradox of persiflage and profundity, Frost placed a teasing couplet near the end of In the Clearing. It takes all kinds of in and outdoor schooling to get adapted to my kind of fooling.
Thank you. All right, now we have Sharon coming up here taking back to Kansas City. We have Hal, Garrett, Gene, Pablo, Miguel, Karen, Cursive. I think that's the way it's going to run, unless I miss myself. Right? Yeah. We got you. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, here's the kids again.
The kids again.
Yeah.
And this one's called Cracker Jack. Every era has its special advertising. Soaps, rings, dishes, toys. Some things could only be obtained by making a purchase. Often many wrappers or tabs had to be amassed in order to obtain the item. The only money required, postage. The big hurdle, getting enough wrappers, the money for the postage, not always that easy when the allowance was 10 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents, or if you were big, maybe $1. Go under the bed, fish out the cigar box, survey the stash, how many more needed. Remember, the parents had to be convinced that the item was a necessity on the grocery list before they bought it. So you prayed, you cried, and finally they did it. Items could be obtained with bubblegum wrappers, not too hard. You were really on your own. And milk money was always the way of funding for that. Everyone in the house had coupons and wrappers for stashes. Dads, grandpas, uncles, gas receipts, stamps for cars and tools. Western Auto, special deals. Hang on to those blue chip, S&H green, and put them in the book. Yeah. God help you if you threw the stamps away with the garbage. You're in big trouble. Catalog books, pasting stamps, always a prize. Catalog books, creased, lots of check marks and stars next to desired items. Lots of spats over who gets to use the book. Some people had the nerve just to take it and cash it in. This was usually an adult male or a teenager male, because since the redemption stores were not in the neighborhoods. So sort of difficult to get to. An action like this could cause ill feelings for months, putting this person's bid for the redemption books to the back of the list. Toy section of a book, really well worn. But most of these items were saved for birthdays and Christmas. By the time the book came completely full, it was fat and almost dome-shaped. Prize were these stamps, so some people would only shop at stores that offered them. Gas stations, grocery stores, Best Sources, Milgram's, Kroger's, Safeway, Piggly Wiggly, King Super, Mobil, Bardol, Chevron, Phillips 66, Union 76, Sinclair, Shell, Texaco, Conoco. Don't know these stamps? Don't throw them away. Hell to pay. But kids had their own way of getting prizes. Bag of Kool-Aid, something on the back. Snow Crop frozen foods, enough wrappers to get us Teddy Snow Crop ham puppet. Mothers had canned milk, labels, cookbooks free, pie plates with company labels embossed on the back, oven mitts, glasses, lots of glasses, juice glasses, orange glasses, water pitchers, coffee mugs, measuring cups, aprons free, clothing patterns, quilt patterns, sewing kits, gelatin molds, tape measures for the men, metal, cloth for the women, fountain pens with local merchants and advertising, paint and hardware stores, caps, aprons, best instant freebie cereal, and Cracker Jacks for the kids. Just open up the box, dig to the bottom, some good stuff. Soldiers, charms, little books, whistles, keychains, little plastic dolls, trucks, packages of crayons, and one very prized item, magnifying glass.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing all the things one can see up close with a magnifying glass. Cracks in the sidewalk, veins on leaves, pores on the faces of your friends, fine print on the back of books. Leonard's older brother, Lonnie, a Boy Scout, showed him how to start a fire with a magnifying glass. Just hold it in the sun over paper, even dry grass, and wow, fire. Just like hunters, boys always looking for camping adventures. Building forts, pseudo campgrounds on vacant lots, backyards, basement. This trick comes in handy since no one is supposed to have matches. Good way to roast hot dogs, marshmallows, bologna. Mr. and Mrs. Green had torn down the old rusty house next door to them. It was a house Miss Nelson had lived in for many years. She was Mrs. Green's aunt. She was in her 90s when she died, and there was so much work and no way to repair it all. They just decided to tear it down and leave it a vacant lot, and she would use it for her garden. So sometimes the boys would camp there. It wasn't such a big headache for them. Their parents knew where they were, and they had Mrs. Green's permission. The normal group of boys of about 4 or 8. This was a particular Saturday, though. The boys, Leonard decided he's going to lead a group, and they're going to play roundup and cookout. The girls would bring the dishes and dolls, and the boys would bring in the radio flyers, the water pistols, the cap guns, the BB guns, stick or hobby horses, hot dogs, buns, potato chips, Kool-Aid, homemade cookies, and of course, marshmallows. So Friday, all plans are in place. Saturday morning, how many blankets do we need? Everybody's got a blanket. Every boy has his own magnifying glass. Each one a small plastic object collected from a box of Cracker Jacks. Saturday morning, cowboy boots, guns in place. Some had chaps, bandanas, dolls, doll buggies, doll dishes, picnic baskets in tow. Sticks rounded up to cook hot dogs on, big bags of guys' potato chips, and Ellen's mother even made potato salad. They even had it timed so that the ice cream man would come by at the right time. All wagons in a circle, little girls dressing dolls and giggling. Mr. Edwards delivers a big number 10 tub full of ice. Getting closer, he also helps the boys set up a clothesline to drape a blanket over, so this place is looking good. They got a tent, and it's time to cook the hot dogs. Now let's see, how does this work? Put the paper in the sunny spot. Takes a little longer than expected. Uh-oh, there's some smoke. Quick, get the hot dogs. Oh, more smoke. We're starting to catch on. Flames. More flames. Uh-oh, sparks. Sparks in the grass. Girls are starting to grab tea sets and dolls, and they are out of there. Dump the water out of the tub. Quick, everybody to the sidewalk. Freddie runs down the street to get the fire station. Boy, this thing is getting out of hand. Neighbors smell smoke. Out they come, pails of water. Sirens start up down the street. Smoke is now pouring out over the place. Women are out fanning with their aprons. Men are bringing buckets of water and turning nearby hoses on fire. The firemen come, everything's out. Fire truck is here. Dots the Dalmatian is barking and in control of the kids. Okay, fire over. A lot of mess. Kids are invited to the firehouse to have hot dogs. Ben the grocer brings more, plus a few cases of beer and RC Cola and Vest Cola. Ice cream man stops by. Face is a little sooty, but all is good. Funny one, no one mentions how it started. Men just winked at each other. And after that, most magnifying glasses were retired. And the girls preferred to play on their own toy stove.
Now, Robbins, and we got Garrett, Jane, Pablo, Miguel, Karen, and our cursive writer. There we go.
Well, our theme is the future. And one thing there'll always be more of in the future is the past.
As time goes on.
Yeah. And some poems in the past have been prophetic and predictive. Shelley said that poets were the unacknowledged legislators of mankind. They also have a prophetic voice. And this is an excerpt from Locksley Hall by Tennyson, in which some people think he predicted the Battle of Britain. It's at least as good as any prediction Nostradamus ever made. What is it that I should turn to, lighting upon days like these? Every door is barred with gold, and opens but to golden keys. Every gate is thronged with suitors, all the markets overflow. I have but an angry fancy, what is it that I should do? I had been content to perish, falling on the foeman's ground when the ranks are rolled in vapor, and the waters laid with sound. But the jingling of the guinea helps the hurt that honor feels, and the nations do but bluster, snarling at each other's heels. Help me turn that earlier page. Hide me from my deep emotion, O thou wondrous mother age. make me feel the wild pulsation that I knew before the strife, when I heard my days before me and the tumult of my life, yearning for the large excitement that the coming years would yield, eager-hearted as a boy when first he leaves his father's field. And at night, along the dusty highway, near and nearer drawn, sees in heaven the lights of London flaring like a dreary dawn. And his spirit leaps within him to be gone among them then. Underneath those lights he looks at, in among the swarms of men. Men, the workers, men, my brothers, ever reaping something new, that which they have done, but earnest of the things which they shall do. For I dipped into the future, far as human eye could see, saw the vision of the world and all the wonder that would be, saw the heavens fill with commerce, argosies of magic sails, pilots of the purple twilight dropping down with costly bales, heard the heavens fill with shouting, and there rained a ghastly dew from the nation's airy navies, grappling in the central blue. Far along the world-wide whisper of the south wind rushing warm, with the standards of the peoples plunging through the thunderstorm, till the war drum throbbed no longer, and the battle flags were furled in the parliament of man, the federation of the world. There the common sense of most shall hold a fretful realm in awe, and the kindly earth shall slumber, lapped in universal law. So I triumphed, ere my passion, sweeping through me, left me dry, left me with a palsied heart, and left me with a jaundiced eye, eye to which all order festers. All things here are out of joint. Science moves but slowly, slowly, creeping on from point to point. Slowly comes a hungry people, as a lion creeping nigher glares at one who nods and winks beside a slowly dying fire. Yet I doubt not through the ages one unceasing purpose runs, that the thoughts of men are widened with the progress of the suns. What is that to one who reaps not harvest of his youthful joys, though the deep heart of existence beat forever like a boy's? Knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers, and I linger on the shore, and the individual withers, and the world is more and more. Knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers, and he bears a laden crest, full of sad experience, moving toward the stillness of his rest.
Thank you, Mr. Hal Ryan, Dr. Hal. Jane and Pablo. And how do you say it?
Mercury.
Mercury. Okay, I just want to make sure I couldn't read them and they crossed it out, so we got it. All right.
Okay.
And you're new, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Choice. Punish the person before you prevent. Accept without question and don't analyze. A hound is more admirable by far than a hug. Rock pound misdemeanors instead of rehab. A choice is a choice, no choice is good choice. Romance perpetrators and rape their victims. Charm corporations and condemn the children. Authoritarians are lovable and artists are lepers. Define the powerful, demonize the poor. A choice is a choice, no choice is good choice. Any wonder is it why many turn to substance. Pick a substance, any substance, to escape into numbness, condemned yet promoted by that which